Hello tubes, and here we are for another instalment of the Not So Standard 8. So, a little bit of a recap. As you know, the sill's done, front capping's done. We have now measured this, and as you can see, I've sorted for where the radiator is going to go on the offset. So, and that's also bolted up and aligned. We've had the wings and the bonnet on. This side's all seam sealed up. I need to grind the welds down that back section. Underneath all seam sealed as well. The chassis legs at the back still need sorting, but I'm going to have to use a CNC for that, I think. So while I was in between doing MOT stuff on the daily, I thought I'd get the doors up and take a look at this. So I think what we'll have to do is probably not wheel this back, and if I can save this bottom lip and this section here, we might just need to put a little bit of a plate in there and sink it back and then skim a filler and job done. Now, if I'm completely honest, I'd run with the door just like that because it gives it that nice period aged rat look. But hey, that's not up to me, is it? So they want to be repaired, or she wants them repaired, so I'm going to have to give it a go. So let's just get the knot wheel and the flap disc and see what that looks like. So that's not too bad. I mean, the inner section's probably going to need work, as you can tell. But we can build that up afterwards. As long as I've got something good on the front to weld to, the inner is going to be quite easy. And as long as I've still got this bottom lip, which, sure, the surface seems okay. When I come to weld to it, whether it's going to be all right. But I think if we make a nice incision, might as well try and make it straight as possible for his ease. We might be all right. So let's switch to a cutting disc and explore. So the bottom section, I know what would happen. As soon as I weld to that, it's just going to blow through because it is actually quite rusty. So that is going to be pretty easy for me to remake. And then we'll just fold the lip up and we'll have a lip folded to a 90. Then rebuild the back because no one's really going to see that, and slot it in, stitch it, and then I can bend it back over. Like I say, it won't be perfect, but it'll be damn sight better than what it is now. There we go. Now, as Pudding says, mum didn't raise no punk, and my welder can jump a gap. So, and I didn't say it was going to be perfect, but it'd be damn sight better than rot. That'll do, pig. Grind those other ones down, and I can sort the back. So it won't be perfect, but a skim of filler, and you'd probably never know if the car was fully painted and everything. Do the job. So with that door done, I can show you. Skim of filler, be golden that will, but this one is a little bit worse. So I think we'll do the same thing. It just go a bit further up. Looking at it, it's about there where it stops, so we might have to make a bigger piece, but I'm not going to know until I give it a knot wheel. And the same thing basically, if I can save this lip, at least I've got a contour line to go against. But again, we're not going to know until we start dissecting, as I suspected. So I think we can do a there. Oh, it's right. I think if we can do a half moon sort of shape and take all that out, and then we'll make a new lip. This is actually all right. It's nice and solid, so might just do the half moon and be golden there. It's actually not a bad panel, really, considering they are. I mean, this is earlier doors, so these are probably like 1955, 56. So I've got MGB doors that are 15 years old and they've started to go, so that's not bad. That's about the cut I'll do, because it takes up. I mean, I could go closer actually, but I'd still be coming up. So it might make it a bit more awkward, and there is a dent there, so and try and take out that dent as well. Just make it a bit easier. And I've I'm running out of steel, but I have got enough to do that job. This is the only other door that needs repairing as well, I believe. The other two front doors are completely fine, so because obviously these get all the water kicking up at them. So it's a game of rinse and repeat. Make something for that, clean the edges up, and away we go. May have to contour it a bit more, but like I said before, it won't be perfect, but it'll be damn sight better than let it rot. So, get cracking. Right, so this door is also repaired. It's going to need a bit more of a skim of filler because I couldn't quite get the contour correct, so I've made it a bit lower. Hoping a bit of a skim will do it in comparison to this one, which is mint. That one I'm far more pleased with, but they'll both need it, especially in that corner. I've just been removing the door cards so we can start making up templates to make new ones, and we found a bit of old newspaper from September 24th, 1954, because obviously they're older doors than these are. Light reading. Light programme. I want to get them to the top of all the welding, and one of the things which is going to cause a problem, or has been on my mind, was somebody's replaced the rear floor pans. Now the rear floor pans make up part of the rear spring hangers, so I will show you. Now what is supposed to happen, obviously this has been replaced. It's supposed to be, I would say, like it's been pressed, so this was part of it originally, and obviously someone's changed the floor pan. Now they're not great. I probably wouldn't keep them long term, but seeing that the tunnel is probably going to have to be cut out for the engine swap at some point, these will have to be cut in some way anyway, so I'll be making new ones, but for the sake of this I just want to get it kind of sorted. But I don't like that. I know it's mounted at the back, but I really don't like it. And it's the same with this side. It's actually, in fact, this side's a bit worse. So I need to do something. Now what I've mocked up, or should I say knocked up, is this, which it will slide back, weld onto here, and it will just, I mean, it's not thick metal, and it's just for the sake of anything, any sort of pushing force will be pushed forward. So that's the kind of thing I've just kind of knocked up on the finger press. So, and the finger brakes, as I say. So we'll have to do another one for this side. It's better than what it's got at the moment. Like I say, I will probably end up four-linking this like I did the GT, which means this will have to be redone anyway, but that floor's not going to be staying. So you could say they might as well leave it, but take that for an MOT and that's going to be a problem. So I think what we'll do is we'll knock up another one of these and we can just get it puddle welded. The other way of doing it, I could sit it on, sit it in from the top, cut the hole, then weld it, drop it on. But I think it might be a bit of a problem doing that actually. No, we'll do it from the bottom. So there we go. Not perfect, but they will do the job for now until those footwells come out. So what I need to do now is get rid of all this paint and everything. Sorry, it's a bit dark under here. I need to get some floodlights. There we go. Yeah, and I'm going to have to cut this out and sort it because someone's just tack welded a piece of rusty shite in there. But let's get rid of this paint. What I'm going to use, if you've not used these discs before, they are bloody fantastic. I've stripped pretty much all the paint on the MG with one of these, or one of these, a few of these. They're fantastic for stripping paint off. Let's get it done. There we go. Kind of get the gist of what I mean. It needs a bit of a trimming at the back. Sorry for the zoom in. But they should, at least in my brain, make me think it's going to be stronger. Like I say, when the weight's on it, the actual spring hang's been pulled back. So if with this welded to it, it'll at least stop it from trying to move. Again, they're going to be taken off anyway eventually. I'm contemplating, I'll zoom out, whether to drop these in from the top. So they sit in. They'll certainly make it a lot easier to weld. I don't quite know yet. Probably need to get the car in the air and have a look. I think the welds would be a lot better if I do it from the top, because you're not welding upside down. Yeah. So here we go. First one is stitched on. considering upside down, those welds are alright, a little bit of a grind there. And then that side to do the job, and I've just got to sort this one out, which will tuck in. That side I wasn't too fussed about because there was more of the actual mounting plate, you could say, mounting area for the spring hanger fitted to the original part of the floor. Obviously, who previously had it, cut this floor less. With that one, they cut away and didn't make it long enough. So this one, I can actually fit it right in and weld it up, which will make me far happier. So, it's more like it. Far better. Far more stronger anyway. So, and even the floor now was making like a dong. The floors are now far more solid. So, I'm happy with that. I mean, if I have to put something else on the floor, but I really don't want to. I mean, they're not great. I might have to pry into some of these and see how he's welded it, because if they're crap, I might just weld around the edges on the inside. But as for the rear mounting sections, they'll do. Probably cap the fronts, I think. I might leave them as is. I don't know. Probably leave them as is. If they're going to be cut off anyway, eventually, maybe, I'll just leave them as is. So there we go. Yes. Right, guys, that's it for this episode. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell notification so you get a update when there's another episode to the Not So Standard 8. I shall see you in the next one.